So this guy right here, this is Joseph McCarthy. He was a Republican senator from Wisconsin, known as the most famous anti-communist influence during the 1950s. Now, by January 1950, he realized that he was going to need a winning issue in order to be reelected in 1952. This was because he was such an ineffective legislator. So the issue he grabbed onto was charging that communists were taking over the government. And so he created these unsupported accusations, one after the other. This phenomenon became known as McCarthyism. And what he would do is just kind of throw out these claims without evidence. For instance, he claimed at one time that there were 205 communists in the State Department, and he never actually produced a single name. He charged that the Democratic Party was guilty of 20 years of treason for allowing communist infiltration into the government. Now, he was careful to always do his name calling only in the Senate because he had legal immunity that protected him from being sued for slander. Now, Republicans did little to stop McCarthy's attacks because they believed that this particular paranoia would help them win the presidential election of 1952. This is important because the Republicans hadn't had a president since 1928 when Herbert Hoover won the office. There were some that spoke out, such as Senator Margaret Chase Smith of Maine, who said, "I speak as a Republican. I speak as a woman. I speak as a United States Senator. I speak as an American. I am not proud of the way in which the Senate has been made a publicity platform for irresponsible sensationalism. I am not proud of the reckless abandon in which unproved charges have been hurled from this side of the aisle." Now, McCarthy would do this from 1950 until 1953. In 1954, he took a step too far. He started making accusations against the U.S. Army, which resulted in a nationally televised Senate investigation. Now, the American public's viewing of McCarthy bullying witnesses alienated that audience, and it cost him public support. The Senate condemned him, and eventually Joseph McCarthy would suffer from alcoholism and die in 1957. But McCarthyism had taken root throughout the country. By 1953, 39 states had passed laws making it illegal to advocate the violent overthrow of government. Now, that's saying if you say that you advocate for the overthrow, not if you actually do it. So just for having that opinion, you could go to jail. And this was passed in cities and towns across the nation. Later, it was ruled that such laws violated the constitutional right of free speech, but at the time, that communist paranoia was everywhere. For instance, one newspaper did an experiment where pedestrians on the street refused to sign petitions that quoted the Declaration of Independence because they were afraid the ideas were communist. So this was an issue throughout the 1950s, that if you had a radical political opinion, the government was heavily invested in seeing that you not share that with other people.